Welcome back to another episode of the Experts in Fire podcast. I'm your host, Mike Vennard, and with me today is Randy Mowry. Today's episode is The Advantages of Electric Fireplaces. Let's get into it. Hey Randy, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. Mike, how are you on this fine day?
It is a beautiful day, isn't it?
It is.
We just keep having them here in the beautiful state of Michigan. I was in a conversation about that the other day. There are maybe 3-4 months out of the year that I could be somewhere else. But for every other month, man, it sure is gorgeous here. I love our state.
Absolutely. I'll take it. It's been nice getting up. You get up early in the morning, take the dog for a walk, and it is just, thank you, Lord. It is just nice.
You are correct, sir. I'm with you 100% there. All right, Randy. Well, hey, let's get into this episode. We're going to talk about electric fireplaces and the advantages of them. I know you and I have touched on them in different arenas when we've talked about, different things. But electric fireplaces are very popular. I remember a day, Randy, when reps used to come in and say, hey, would you guys want to sell these? And they were like glowing logs, plastic glowing log. Remember that?
Yes. Little spinner in the back that had the little tinsel that would I can't even make the noise that it would make. I remember because my grandmother had one. Randy, can you change the light bulb back there? And it was like, just grab one that we use for the lamp.
I used to tease a guy all the time. I'm like, does the hamster come with it?
Right.
Because that's what it sounded like. A hamster was running on a cage, But man, they are sweet now. Electric fireplaces have so many advantages, number one, but the look of them is pretty stunning as well. Number one, I found that perfect setting that makes it look like fire, because I'm a fire guy. And most people will look at it like, oh, wait, that's not fire? And I'm like, no, it's not. And then you start playing with the apps and all the different things you can do and the color. So cool, man. It's like a big iPad on your wall.
It really is. They're just so different than they were back in the day, that's for sure.
So let's start. You know what? We kind of got a list here. The first thing we would start with, right? Where are you going to put this? It doesn't matter what kind of fireplace you're going to install. Before we talk about bells and whistles, before we talk about the things you can and can't do with it, we would always talk about where is this fireplace going to go? And when you ask that question and somebody says, I'm thinking electric, how would you answer that then?
It's always, like you just mentioned, is, placement wise with electric fireplaces, just the ease of installation versus a gas or a wood burning appliance is night and day. With these, they're going to require a lot less space, Mike, than any of the other gas or wood burning appliances. But also, you can literally put the electrics anywhere. So installation, when we talk about just how easy it is, 2x4 constructed wall. There's going to be some that'll just fit within inside of 2x4 wall. There's going to be some that are going to, that you could get within a 2x6 wall. And then, of course, like in my own home, I have 4 electric fireplaces scattered throughout the house. I even have one in my garage. You can just simply wall mount it. So when we talk about like placement, ease of installation, that's what you're looking at. They literally are that easy. And, I know that recently you did yours, so you found out just how convenient and easy it was to do the installation.
Yeah, we had a wall. We removed a wall that separated the kitchen and the main living space, and we built a bump out around it, which was common for gas fireplaces as well. You build that bump out, and you can really do anything you want then. What we looked at was, man, I can do whatever I want with the bump out. And what was simple for us was we didn't have to think about fire, heat. You know what I mean? How's it going to escape? Where's it going to go? And that's what, in my mind, makes it an easier installation. If it were direct vent or wood burning, I have to worry about venting it, right?
Exactly.
And I say worry. It's not a worry if you do it right. You vent it, but I didn't have to vent it, so it was easier. If you go with vent free, you're staring at, okay, where's all this heat going to spill? into the room? Can I put a TV above it? All of those things that we have other episodes on, which I didn't have to think about that either. So it really became a really cool opportunity to make a statement in the room, because I needed to build the bump out anyway. I wanted to build the bump out, and I wanted the cabinets to the left and the right of it. Yes, I do scroll a lot of Instagram. So,
like probably most Americans when they're doing some interior or exterior design work, for sure.
some kind of project, right? So I agree. It was just you have the dimensions of your box, what you're framing around, and then really it becomes fun to go, okay, how high do I want it to be? How low do I want it to be? Where do I want the stockings to go come Christmas time? You can have a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely. And that's, when we talk about like the ease of installation and requiring less space, like in a scenario like you mentioned where you have a pre-existing wall and maybe somebody doesn't want to cut into that wall because it is the exterior wall.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to come into their living space with, a bump out, because basically you're creating we'll call it a false wall for the fireplace, and look and entertain gas appliances first that maybe require 2 feet versus an electric that only requires 8 inches. So you can easily see that you're going to use a lot less space inside of your pre-existing living space by doing that electric fireplace, not having to vent it, run gas lines, things of that nature. And then the other, point you had made, a little bit about the heat itself. Where is it going to go? Things like that. Well, with electric fireplaces, there's a lot of them. They're gonna have heat, but we see a lot of things on the internet these days. TVs above fireplaces. With the electric fireplaces, now I'm gonna always refer to the manual based on the fireplace that you have to find out where that heat is going. But for example, I have TVs that are within 3 inches above each fireplace. Because I don't have to worry about the heat. Now, they do provide heat, but the way that the heat is distributed is not affecting my TVs whatsoever. You want to think about that. And depending on the wall height, things of that nature, I have a basement wall that's only 9 feet. The space with a big TV, electric fireplace below it, even with the heat, those are all things to consider when you're talking about installation. But the heat part of it was not a concern in regards to my TV. That's the other nice thing about electric fireplaces. You can just mount those TVs literally right above them. Please refer to the owner's manual for the particular model that you are buying.
Right. Always refer to the manual, both the TV and the fireplace manual.
Please.
Yeah, Randy, it makes a lot of things easier. I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking, you mentioned exterior wall, and typically if we're talking to someone about installing a fireplace, the first conversation we're going to have with that installing pro is, okay, what wall is this going on, interior, exterior? If it's an interior wall and it needs venting, where's the venting going to go, right? You start talking about, are we passing through a ceiling into an attic and out a peak? Are we passing through a second floor and into the ceiling from there and into the attic? And, you have all these questions and concerns. If it's on an exterior wall and it's a direct vent, then we can just pop through, and how thick's the wall, and you kind of work through that with telescoping pipe and different things that you can do. For this, you can literally just dream a room, a space. It used to be that you would dream the space and go, okay, here's my option for electric. Now the options are pretty phenomenal. I mean, from the view that you get, some of them look like televisions, some of them just have very good random patterns, and some of them are powered via steam and lights. And I mean, the options, from what I hear from our manufacturers, are only going to get better.
Oh, they're just going to get better and better and better. Absolutely.
That's pretty exciting. You have fire-related questions, and we have answers. You can email us your questions at podcast@woodlanddirect.com or give us a call at 586-221-3638. We would love to be able to answer them right here on the Experts in Fire podcast.
Which brings me to our next point is they're just more affordable too. Not only the convenient part that we've been talking about as far as like installation and things, but they're more affordable than a lot of the gas appliances and a great deal of the wood appliances. based on when you factor in your installation costs and things of that nature. Just the units themselves are more affordable. And then the installation, of course, because of the ease of installation, is going to be more affordable in the overall picture as well.
And that, again, that allows you to stretch that budget a little bit and maybe see if you could get something a little better or a little bigger, even that you wouldn't have been able to, considering everything you'd have to do for a gas fireplace. Randy, when it comes to our show, we always talk about safety. We're always safety first, safety first, safety first. What are the considerations when it comes to electric and safety?
So they are safe. They're much safer. So if you compare it to we'll just use a gas fireplace. A gas fireplace has a solid glass panel that is going to have that heat coming off it. And that glass, although that they come with the gas fireplaces with a child protective screen, that glass front is extremely hot because of the generous heat that's coming off of it. Electric fireplace, I can have, on the glass itself, I can have even if the heat was on, the glass to touch is perfectly cool because it's not discharging off of that glass. So they are very, very safe. And because you're not using gas, so you don't have the odors and concerns of gas and carbon monoxide coming into the house if for some reason somebody had a shift in the outside foundation from just the earth itself and a gas leak or improperly installed gas line, just all the safety concerns that come with any kind of gas product. Those are all eliminated when it comes to electric as far as that part of it goes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it going, when it comes to the safety portion of it, it isn't even a concern. I ran gas lines into the backyard for the patio, and it's like, okay, we're going to spray this. We're going to smell, sniffer test, the whole thing. And I got to admit, when they turn the gas back on, you smell it. My wife was like, hey, I smell gas. And I'm like, yeah, you're gonna. Let's relax for a minute, right? So, but when it comes to this, you wire it in, and I say you, and I think that's something we should talk about in this safety portion here. Is this something that you would suggest a DIYer does, or are there certain portions of this that DIYers should not do?
So what I find with electric fireplaces, I find that if somebody is, because I definitely don't want to ever judge anybody's skill set, but if they're skilled enough to do the framing and their stonework and things of that nature, I always feel that that's probably fine. But when it comes to the electric, because you are going to have to run some electricity to this thing, and whether it's you're coming off of the main box, you're jumping off of another outlet, because these are just simple 3-prong plug, 120 volt style or 240 volt. Hire an electrician. You wouldn't run gas line yourself, unless you're a certified gas plumber. I would hope that you wouldn't run a gas line, because like you said, it is all about safety. Hire an electrician. That's their skill. They've spent a lot of time in education and on the job for that. Hire the pro to do that part of it. So that that it's done correctly, because it is electric, and if an electric's not done correctly, you could still have an electrical fire, and so that's that safety part of it. And sticking with the safety of an electric fireplace, we do a lot of these in condos, hotels, high-rise apartments in the cities, places where they cannot have a gas or a wood burning appliance via code or whatever the case may be. But these are other great areas that a lot of these electric fireplaces go, because of everything we've talked about, the ease of installation, the convenience, and obviously not being able to run gas or burn wood in those particular areas.
Yeah, all solid points. I agree. Electricians are so much faster too. I'm a homeowner, and I've done a lot of work with different friends, and I have friends who are electricians. They just know all the tricks, man. And what's important in my mind is you could jump off of another outlet, but what's running on that outlet? What's on that line? How much juice is going to draw from the unit itself? There's so many considerations when it comes to electrical. Does it need its own line? Some units do call out in the manual that, hey, run a single line to this so it stands alone, kind of like your refrigerator or your sump pump or something of that nature. So always lean on the pros out there. There's a reason that they went to school, that they've put in all the time that they've put in. So yeah, shout out to all of those electricians out there. Thank you for keeping those of us who feel like I can do it safe.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm not doing it myself either.
Right. Right. So, some other benefits of electric fireplaces, lots of options. Man, I mean, I mentioned a few of them earlier, but shapes, sizes, designs. I mean, talk through real fast just some of those, Randy.
So you can do build outs for anything from a traditional looking, and what I mean by that is your traditional square style electric fireplace with the simulated logs in it, all the way up into exceeding 100-inch linear contemporary style unit. And there's everything in between, and as we talked about with doing your materials around the fireplace, you could do anything from wood plank around it to stone, ceramic tile with any of these options. There's just so many different shapes, sizes available with different viewing areas and things of that nature. It is just open. There are a plethora of options that are out there these days.
Yeah, linear was hot for so long, and then we had a manufacturer come out with a traditional size, and it exploded. I mean, figuratively, right? It is.
It has.
It's a great look, but we just didn't realize how many people are going to want to put a traditional looking firebox. It was.
Yeah. Kind of going back, for years, the traditional ones still weren't that appealing. It feels to a lot of folks, maybe just because of the aesthetic value. They just weren't enjoying that part of the aesthetic value of the traditional still. And then we had this company that came out with a new traditional version, and it is literally taken off.
Lots of options, lots of sizes. We mentioned being safe. Make sure you get an electrician. You mentioned that they were more affordable, but let's talk about cost effectiveness, right? When you put in a gas fireplace, you have to consider, I'm going to be flipping this on and I'm burning gas, right? Which I pay for at the meter. If I burn wood, and a lot of people, there were times, Randy, when you and I were selling together where gas got so expensive, especially LP up in the Northeast, that everybody was going to burn wood. Okay, there's a cost to that too, right? Because now I'm either buying wood or I'm buying a nice chainsaw because I'm not using a cheap one and a splitter, and I also have toll on my own body and all of that type of stuff, right? So what kind of costs are we looking at for an electric fireplace?
So now it'll vary depending on parts of the country. I was just kind of playing with some of the stuff around, what we have here in the Michigan area, because it's going to be dependent on what you pay for kilowatt, things of that nature. But from a cost-effective standpoint, you're looking 14, 18, 20 cents per hour, running these things. And then on the backside of that, with these units being eco-friendly, kind of like what you're talking about with the wood, wood, you're going to have all that, particulate that is going to be going out into the atmosphere, the natural resources of even natural gas, of still using the gas, so they're definitely much more eco-friendly versus, using those other resources.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives to it. One of the things I really love about it is this next point. You can use it year round.
Absolutely. All year round. Well, because I think, I told you this before we got started, is my wife uses the heat on the electric fireplaces. I don't, like if I just have it running, but I'll just have it running. And you can do that if it's 110 degrees outside and you're down south, to have that flame going all the time, so that's another really nice use of these units itself, is just using them all season long.
It's one of the things I look forward to, going to the cabin for hunting season, deep into, November. You're up in the woods. It's freezing when you're outside, but coming back to the cabin, you've got the wood stove going, and even going to bed at night, because our cabin's just wide open space. The flicker of the fire while you're resting, so many memories of that. And now I can push a button when it's dark out in the middle of July and experience the same thing. It's so nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for those that want to use the heat, most fireplaces are going to be 120 volt systems. Typically, they're going to be right around 5,000 BTUs of heat. Some manufacturers are, saying maybe up to 1,000 square feet of heating space for that, or, taking that chill out of the air, things of that nature. Now, not all, but quite a few units, they do have the ability, Mike, to be wired 240 volt, which is going to take that from, the 5,000 BTUs. Some of them even are going to be at 240 volt up to 10,000 BTUs. But there again, check your manuals, to see if that's something that you want to use it for, as far as that, 240 volt, because obviously it's a different, different wiring from the electrician.
Yeah, 100%. And that's 120 versus 240. Yeah, electric fireplaces, everybody. If you have any questions, if you want to see some options, if it's something that you were scrolling through one of the social media outlets and going, wow, that thing is pretty sweet, don't hesitate to give us a call. There are several Randys. Nah, there's only one Randy, but there are a whole bunch of other folks as well standing by who are willing to talk you through your project and wanting to talk you through your project. So get a hold of us here at Woodland Direct. We would love to have that conversation with you. Randy, is there anything else you can think of that you'd want to share on electric fireplaces here?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, the one thing that comes to mind that I didn't put down in our notes here is the movability factor. And that is, depending on how somebody installs an electric fireplace into their home, if they move, it is definitely something that they could just simply unplug and take with them. As far as the fireplace goes, you're not going to do that with any kind of full built-in gas or wood burning appliance. But with the electrics, if you just simply have it hanging on the wall like a picture frame, you're going to be able to take it with you to the next property. If you build it into just a small little wall that you're using as a divider, as a freestanding, because you can do that, then you can take that with you. So that movability factor also is a nice option for folks that may be thinking about taking it with them.
Solid point. That's a very good thought. You get to take your investment with you. Seems to be common in a lot of things that are being manufactured today, but good point, Randy. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you being here, man. As always, you take out of your own time just to share with our pros out there and our listeners. So thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
All right. And cut. Join us next time for Can You Roast Marshmallows on a Gas Fire Pit? We'll see you then.